Hey, hi, how are you? Vadd here. We are in Ark Survival Evolved on the Ragnarok map, playing the DinoOverhaulX mod. We finally have some pygmy treats, and we are going to move forward with taming our first pygmies today. What I haven't shown you in the docks crafting table, there are two different kinds of traps we can make. One is the wood trap or cage, which I believe can be made in your inventory. The other is the docks forge trap or cage. Both of these are great tools for taming pygmies. We have our pygmy treats, and I have gone ahead and crafted these trapping cages. You can see that the forged cage is a fairly significant investment. You can pick them up once you place them down. If you go out to tame a pygmy and you don't have one of these cages, that's okay. They are passive tames. You only need to get into their inventory. However, a pygmy will always flee when you get a little bit close. It's going to be a lot easier to trap a pygmy using one of these cages. You could try and build a regular vanilla homemade trap, but the mod comes with these traps to tame pygmies. I recommend using them. We are on our way to tame a Kong pygmy. When you're in the docks mod, you want to open up your docks book of smarts, and it's going to have a tab, a page that lists some of the bonuses that pygmies will give. And pygmies are shoulder mounts. So when you have a pygmy that you've tamed and he's on your team and he's on your shoulder, it's going to then be giving you a bonus, and that is going to be huge. You're not going to be able to progress into the late and mid game without taming up a small army of pygmies. Maybe you just need one as long as you don't die. I have my pygmy in sight. I've got my trapper cage, and I'm going to place the cage from the Pteranodon. I'm kind of worried there's something scary down here. If you see a Mega King Kong, they are defenders of the pygmies, and I just want to make sure there's no Mega Kong. Okay, looks like a successful placement. Notice in the bottom right corner I have these little angry eyes and that red overlay. Whenever you go out pygmy taming and you put down a docks trap, it's going to enrage all the dinosaurs in your near vicinity. I'm going to wait to go back and check on the pygmy until I lose this buff. There's nothing more frustrating than setting down your trap and having every single creature in the vicinity attacking you. I've now lost the buff. It's just a little bit of a time period. If I was on foot, I might not have made a run for it. And you can see here I placed the trap on a fairly significant incline. That's okay. The pygmy is in the trap. Notice the green heart. That's our visual cue. It's a pygmy. And as we get closer, you can see it's a little teeny tiny King Kong. And it's kind of a green color, which is fun. It's not going to be able to get out of the trap. I can't get into the trap to get into its inventory from this underside either. I really appreciate that even though there's this massive slope here, I was still able to put down the trap, and the pygmy still respects the boundaries. Your best bet at this point is to get into the trap. You can sometimes reach from the front section into their inventory, but I'm going to just grapple in. And then I'm going to take my pygmy taming treats, and in the Doc's Book of Smarts it recommends putting them in the pygmy in stacks of 5 to 10. So I'm going to put 10 treats in their inventory, and it's going to start this little animation, and every time that animation completes without taming it, it is a failed tame attempt. And would you believe that? It's not the Mega Carno, but you better believe if we stay here too long they'll call Dad. See this notification up here? Failed. That's the pygmy taming trap showing us that, that's the pygmy treat showing that, hey, the pygmy consumed the treat, but it just didn't want to join you. I'm going to fail numerous times, but we brought plenty of taming treats. I tried to throw out the big monkey boys that I tamed in last episode just to have them beat up. Well, there it is. We have tamed our first pygmy in our playthrough here. Pygmy Kong can, when he is tamed and on you as a shoulder pet, he will help your mount deal up to 5% more damage, and your mount will receive up to 7.5% less damage. Those are big numbers. Why am I saying up to? What does that mean? Well, if we tamed a pygmy that was level, let's just say 150, I would not necessarily get the full 5% more damage. I would get maybe only 2 or 3% more damage. It's still more. So when you're taming pygmies, if you see one, that's great. You should probably tame it if you have the tools. But at the same time, you want to be trying to tame the highest level pygmy you can find. For the current state of docks, right now, if you're taming pygmies that are over level 551, around the 600s or more, it's at the highest level. I'm going to try and tame another pygmy, the prime Pygmy Dodicarus. And one thing we want to know is when we're taming pygmies, we don't just want to look out for Mega Kong in the buff when we put down the trapping cage. We also want to look out for the Prime Kong Vanguard. That's right, every time I'm in that pygmy's inventory putting down the passive tame with the Pygmy Taming treats, there's a possibility that the Kong Vanguard will show up and he will not be happy. Every time the treat fails to tame, it rolls again to summon this. I had a small nightmare taming this pygmy. This prime dire bear showed up, and that's a boss that we are not ready to fight. I thought it was a Kong, but it was a Bigfoot who I just tamed to get out of the way. That way, as I'm putting down the traps, it doesn't aggro onto me. And I missed this pygmy multiple times. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's the snow or the snowstorm, but I kind of flew off the edge here, hoping anything aggressive would just run off the edge. And it kind of shot myself in the foot because the pygmy I was trying to tame went off the edge. And on my way down here, there was a Thylacolea just hanging out. And I know when I put down my trapper cage that I'm going to make everything in the area mad. So I tamed this quick and came back around. Remember, whenever we're taming pygmies, we are going to get that. If we're using the Dox cage, we're going to get that enraged buff. We can avoid that by just giving it a second. Don't fly out of render distance, but I just want to put myself in a safe position. I've bought plenty of taming treats to be successful. I'm going to hop up in the trap, and I'm going to once again notice the green star over the Pygmy Doed and throw the treats in. I actually fail 6 times to tame this pygmy. That is not unusual. That's why we bring no less than 10 treats. I brought 100. That's plenty. We tamed our second pygmy here, the Pygmy Doed. The Pygmy Doed is going to give us a defensive bonus that's pretty substantial. And I was looking at my handbook, and I actually got killed by the Apex King Kong Vanguard. It didn't show me what was going on. Here you could see in the Docs Book of Smarts, as at the time of working on this video here, there's a pygmy tab and it shows us what most all the pygmies do. And again, the Pygmy Doed is going to give us 15% defense, and the pygmies can be upgraded. We talked about this a little bit more before. We tamed those Dilos because one of the ingredients in pygmy upgrade treats are the Dilophosaurus eggs. I actually have just one pygmy treat in the fridge, and I'm going to give it a go. This is my only upgrade treat, and it's going to have a similar animation, and if it succeeds, my pygmy will visibly look different with a little crown, and the pygmy will give me a little bit of a better bonus. So we're going to have to work towards that as we move our way out of the early game docks. This is still what I would consider early game. We've got our base set up. We have kind of our taming treat farm set up. We have our first big Apex tame with our decision to go with the Apex Rex. Another really popular tame is the Apex Spino. I'm understanding it's very dangerous, very fast, and very useful. We have our first 2 pygmies. This is so exciting. We've been working towards this for the last 8 episodes, and this is really where, just like the Docs crafting table helped us to build these pygmy traps, these pygmies are in that Dox crafting table is kind of the bread and butter of getting further into the Dox mod. Same thing with these pygmies. You can also see visually that when you have the pygmy riding with you, you can see that it's doing something. In the top right corner, it's going to show the words pygmy. This Rex has a saddle with an armor of 150. I've got over 100,000 health on it. I'm a pretty tanky boy. And in addition to that, I've got my pygmy on my shoulder. It's time to go out and see what we can find. We pretty much delete this scorpion without an issue, and we enrage this manticore. I don't know where the manticore came from, but it's our time to shine. This is a level 1,110 manticore with 21,500 health. And with this pygmy, you can see it's hitting us for 500. We have 100,000 health on this Rex. I've bred up some fun colors and quite a bit of HP, and you can see here that this Doed is making a huge difference. We are taking significantly less damage than we would otherwise. This manticore has absolutely deleted us. If not this one, then another one on more than one occasion. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because it's not that glamorous, because I'm just gonna chop this manticore down. But this is kind of the next level of the progression. Up to this point, we've kind of just been grabbing eggs and running out the door, and that's not gonna cut it. Well, now with our pygmies and getting these defensive bonuses, or if we had brought our Kong pygmy out, we'd have some offensive bonus as well. We're able to fight these nest defenders, and fighting these nest defenders means we can pretty much get whatever egg we want. And these eggs are going to be huge for getting out of the early game and into the mid game. We're going to need some prime kibble, and the way to get prime kibble is to fight a prime boss. We've mentioned this once before, so I hope it's starting to sound familiar. We also got some new meat on that kill. That's a meat that gets used in the Dox mod for crafting supplies. Here I made a mistake. I saw an egg and I got excited. I'm feeling good. And as I run up on the egg, I noticed something scary. Did you see it? There it is. That's right. There's a prime hell horse, level 1250 with 181,000 health, and we've been just destroyed by some primes before. So I decided to hop off and abuse the Soul Trap mod and just scoop up Griffin here. You never can trust the Necromancer. They're always coming back, and it shoots this skull and just kills me. I save Griffin, but I lose our first pygmy duo there. One thing in the Dox crafting table you really want to put down on your base is the Dox Mega Metal Wall. It's expensive, but being in this cave, I only really need one to seal off my entrance. Megas in the Dox mod are that tier below Titans, like the Mega Carno. They never actually despawn on the map, so there are times where you could be outside of render distance, and as your base loads in, the Mega just absolutely tears through everything, and all of a sudden it's in your base and you don't know why. The Mega Wall is a structure that will make sure that the Megas don't clip through or run through your base as it renders in. Just like the Megas in the mod, the Mega Wall will prevent them from walking through your base. This is not a security feature. Don't think because I built this that they can't get in or I can't get out. It swivels on the middle. No, the Megas can't open the door, but they're going to fight their way through it. Remember, those are boss tier monsters. Sure, the Mega Wall has, this fun mechanic of it swivels and you can see through, and it's got kind of the Dox, metal on it. It's very fun, and it's going to help them from accidentally jumping through a base that's not rendered in. This is not safety or protection. Our best safety is being in that base. I never really took out the monkey boys for much of a throwdown on camera. I just wanted to show you what they could do. I wrecked some vanilla Sabertooths. I'm going to take on this Apex Rex. I'm going to try the throw attack. It's doing some damage. I'm going to try some monkey pound attack. It's hitting a lot harder. They're pretty useful. I can't breed them. There is an option in their menu to breed them. And I came across this Apex Raptor Prime again, and it destroyed me. Again, that prime tier dino is that lowest tier dino, and I thought it'd be fun to take out my Rexes and just let the beach know that there's a new gang in town. The Apex Rexes run the beaches now, and hunt down that raptor. Maybe we can't kill it, but I've got 5 or 6 of these. They're all leveled up a little bit differently. Some of them I pump melee, some of them I punch health points, but I had an absolute nightmare trying to get these Rexes to follow me. It was bad. They got stuck on everything. We made almost no progress. They all have at least 50,000 health, and anything more than that got pumped into immediately. On the way to where the Prime Raptor was, it disappeared. I have no idea where it went, but hey, I'm all the way out here at this point, so I'm just looking for something to fight. And a couple episodes back, we saw a zombie Dodo over here. It's also a prime tier, a little bit of a specialty fight, and I thought maybe if it's over here, we'll give it a run for its money. And we are just all over the place. I really took forever to try and get them and moving in one direction, but we finally found it. It was right about where it was before, and we start chomping, and you can see our Rexes go down hard and fast. We really need to be working with the DOX mod, not working against it. What do I mean by that? The DOX mod has pygmies. We have the tools to make pygmies. We needed to have a pygmy with us there. I came back on my flyer to see how much health was left on the zombie Dodo and found another Rex or 3 running around the beach. And this one here I decided just to send to attack the zombie Dodo, the Dodo Prime Wild Apex. And again, it's just getting destroyed. And the Dodo Prime Wild will not de-aggro from me. I actually had flown well away from Viking Bay and back, and it got stuck on a wall and chases me across the beach. This is going to be our first view of another Mega, another of that second highest tier boss. The Mega Rex is down here in Viking Bay. Just when I roll out my Apex Rex gang to run the beaches, the Mega T-Rex is here with 1.4 million health, and I am not fighting this thing at all. I have no idea what happens here, but the Dodo has some crazy mechanics. It gets kind of close, and this gives me this blinding white light. I actually changed the color to yellow to save anyone who's staring too close at their device while they watch this video. It's very bright, it's very white, and I just flew straight up and screamed. Again, like I said before, we went with Apex Rexes as part of our progression. I like Rexes. I thought it'd be fun, and I got some neat colors. I got some good levels, and we're at the point where we can kind of fight what we want to fight. You didn't have to go with an Apex Rex. I talked before that we tamed the Pteranodon. You could have gone with a Trike. I mentioned you could have tamed an Apex Mammoth. I mentioned just now you could have gone with a Spino. A Spino would have been a great tame to get you in a position to fight some nest defenders. Another option would have been a Rock Elemental. I found one over here and kind of set up a trap and cleared a path, and I found the Rock Elemental Prime with the star floating over their head, and I just wanted to get it down off of here, and it didn't work very well. They just destroyed me, and then they despawned. I found another one. If you want to see the full video on how to build this Rock Elemental Prime trap, I'm going to put a link in the description to where I first saw this specific trap. I'm going to use this trap to tame what could have been your first tame. You just need the resources to build the trap, and I don't need to get any tranquilizers, which is kind of nice. Sure, I need to get myself a cannon and some cannonballs and find one of these guys, but ultimately, this would have been a fantastic first tame. This is the part where you say to me, but it's a prime, we can't tame the bosses. That's true. This is just one of those things you just have to know. You could tame the Prime Rock Elemental, and it tames just like a Rock Elemental. In Vanilla Ark, you're going to want a cannon and to knock it out, and it's just as exciting as it looks. That's right, shot by shot. There's some splash damage. I'm not getting it perfectly on the head. You can see at the feet, 56, 56, 56. That little bit of damage is taking a little bit away from my taming effectiveness. I'm not worried about that. I'm just excited to get another great tame to help me progress through the mod. Rock Elementals get a little bit of natural defense, and instead of Rexes, I could have gone straight for this Rock Elemental. When I was taming Rexes, I had the gear to tame this as well. I hope this video helped you out with your progression. Next episode is probably going to be the last episode of early game docs. If you learned something or enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. If you have joined and enjoyed before, welcome back. If you would like to see more quality content, please consider joining me in supporting the channel through Patreon and utilizing the affiliated links. Thanks!